Well, hello there. We have here a switch. Now, there is a little bit of an amusing story behind this switch. This actually is my daughter's switch. It has been lost. We tore the house apart trying to find it for about 8 months. It was in a crate. We thought we were very thorough in trying to find it, and I was over the moon to find it. However, we have also already replaced this switch.
You damn kids!
I've given it a charge. Now the switch is slightly bent, okay, so it's got this slight curvature to it, which I'm sure switches aren't really supposed to have. It is absolutely working. I've given it a full charge, which after eight months of being dormant, it's quite impressive that it's charged. So I wanted to give it a look over. Now we have a bit of an issue with this side. This Joycon is working absolutely fine. I've done a full test on both Joycons in terms of buttons, analog sticks and everything like that, and it does seem that it's absolutely fine. However, one common problem with switches is that the Joycons can disconnect. Now you can disconnect this Joycon, you get the little symbol, it actually shows up red, but it is in fact a grey case. It was originally red. I did swap it out for a grey one. And you can disconnect this one, which is absolutely fine, and it all behaves as it should. However, a little bit of manipulation, it would appear that this side just doesn't want to stay connected. Now you can see there, the left hand side is greyed out, and no matter how much I manipulate it, it just doesn't want to go back. Now I can take the Joycon controller out and slide it back in, and it's absolutely fine. But there is an additional problem that I've found. So we take this Joycon out and we press the button. You can see that the light has actually come on. But if you take this side out and you press it, there's no connectivity light whatsoever. So we're going to go into some settings here and just double check that this is working fine. So we're going to controllers and sensors, and then we'll go into test input devices, test controller buttons, and here you can see that is working. There's no light, but it is picking up the buttons, which means it is getting a charge. However, it is disconnecting at the bottom of the rail, and there are no indication lights on the rail itself.
I just can't do it, Captain. I don't have the power.
Now also with this, I can push this button and this button and nothing really happens. I accidentally touched those buttons there, but never mind. So this and this button here aren't working. However, on the other Joycon, you can see that's actually working fine. So we have a problem with this controller. Now it could be that it's been in a crate at an angle for however many months it is, and the controller is, the Joycon rail is just dead. I'm not entirely sure. So we're going to get it open and have a look and see what we can see. So as usual, I'll be using my trusty kit that you've seen in previous videos. If you are new to the channel, then please consider subscribing. Let's see if we can get my subscribers over 1,000, get the channel monetized and start making some much bigger repairs. I really want to get into doing some real sort of proper soldering jobs and repairs of that nature. I just haven't got the resources at the moment to be able to do that. So helping the channel to grow would be massive help. So if you can like and share the video and hit that subscription button, that would really help me out. So that would appear to be the right one. None of these are in order. We'll have to sit there and spend some time doing that. But don't think that's quite the right piece. It is a Y piece. There we go. Remember where all the screws are. This is a black surface, so always keep hold of your screws. My guess is with this that the Joycon rail is either failed or is disconnected, or maybe some corrosion's got somewhere. The entire rail's not functioning the way it should. So we'll see what we can see. Let's break this open. Break in and see what we can see. Right. So at first glance, it would seem that everything is okay in terms of the rail itself. There's very little corrosion there. There's no corrosion there whatsoever, in fact. So something is making this operating a way other than it should. So let's just pull the battery. With other videos that I've done, I have been heavily criticised for just ripping the battery out. However, it is the best way. One sharp, fast pull, and it's out. Okay, it doesn't bother this too much. It's actually quite a loose connector. I wouldn't recommend doing it over and over and over again. However, once or twice isn't going to hurt it. Get to the bottom of this. We're going to take this section out next. And do be careful, because this button here, the top L button, it will pop out and ruin your day. So let's get these out. There's 3 screws, I believe, that hold this in. Here, and here. And we'll carefully lift this out, flip it over, and get it out of the way. And just as a precaution, when I'm taking these apart, I just lift this button out and put it to one side, just so it doesn't ping off somewhere and really ruin my day. I do have a little bit of a twist here, but these buttons are working absolutely fine. That cable there, let me just zoom in for you so you can see. So that cable there does look a bit twisted, but this is working absolutely fine. So what I'm going to do is get these ribbon cables off, and let's see if we can spot anything. Spot any kind of problem. I'll just lift that section up, pull that out. That comes away quite neatly. Getting these back in, that's a bit of a challenge, but it's not too bad, to be honest with you. Okay. I think the best thing to do is to take this screw out here. I think take this screw out here and release the rail from the back. So we'll take that out, see what we can see. That should just pop off now, but do be careful, this button here coming out, you don't want that pinging off somewhere. Okay, so put that to one side. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug the battery back in, and I'm going to try wiggle some connectors and see what happens with the 2 buttons here, the SL and SR. So we'll pop the battery back in. Again, criticised for using metal on the battery connector. As long as you keep it flat, it won't hurt anything. Okay. Let's just push a button. See if it'll spring to life. Oh! Do you see that? See that? We had life. There was life in that controller. Right. Let me see if I can replicate that. Ah, there we go. There we go, you see. That is intermittent contact somewhere. Oh, there's life. It's trying to connect. That's trying to find the switch. So there is power getting to it. Now we're going to have to inspect these cables to see if there's anything wrong with them. I may have to break out the microscope, but we will see. Let's try and flatten that out a bit. Oh, there we go. There's life, death, life, death, life, death, life, death, life. Right. I'm gonna bring the switch over and try connecting it up to that. So let's see if we can connect it up. It is a bit silly doing it this way, but right. So that's saying it's connected. And it is working. Okay, so that's saying it's disconnected. So technically that should work. That should now be connected to the switch, which it is. If you can see that little green light, that means it's connected to the switch. So it has found the switch. Okay, so let's put that over there. So there is an intermittent contact here. Oh, it's lost it again. Personally, I think we're going to need to get this under the microscope and just have a look. See if the problem could be here. I think we'll start with getting this board off. Let's get this board off. Just be very careful not to lose any of the screws for this, because it can be a bit of a nightmare to find. Well, they can be a bit of a nightmare to find. And we've got LEDs. What I'm doing is just there, that movement there is causing a problem. It's definitely an intermittent contact somewhere. If I give this a tug up, oh, damn it! Wow, and there it is. There, I think we found the problem. Wow. That has just completely snapped on me like it was brittle. I barely put any pressure on with my finger and it popped straight off. That is, wow. That's actually quite shocking, isn't it? Clearly, that has caused quite the issue, and that would be the source of all our woes. Do I have a spare one of these though? Ooh, I don't know. We'll have to have a look. I do have some controller parts. Let's lift that up, pop that out. Yeah, I mean that is a clean break if I've ever seen one. And this may be the right one. I don't think it is. No, it's the opposite side. Would you believe it? That's the opposite side. So I obviously don't have the replacement part. I am going to order one today. However, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to have to use a donor controller. So I'm going to pop out the component that I need from this, pop it into here, and the replacement will go into this one. Very, very careful not to mix the parts up. Okay. Question is, can I get this out without having to take all of this off very carefully? Pop that up. Wonder if it will come up without the battery being in place. Oh, with the battery in place, should I say? Ah, there you go. Just lift it up and pull. There we go. Let's take that out. That's the bit we need. What I am going to do is put in the bad component here just to keep these buttons in place, because if I don't want those rattling around, and I don't really want the chance of losing them. Oh, you little git. Okay, so that's together enough. It is a working controller, but it is a spare controller, so I don't mind using it for that purpose. I'll order up the other part and it'll be fine. Okay, now we've got to get this component in here nice and neatly without breaking it. Here comes the really tricky part. Okay, so we've got to get all this back together. I'm going to pull the battery, which I probably should have done by now. I'll put this button back in here, just so we don't lose it. It does have an indent where the button's supposed to go. I'll zoom in so you can see. I'm getting into frame. Right, so you want to get this into here, and to do that, I'm literally lifting that up, going in, and a downward motion, and setting it like that. You see how it's set in these two grooves here? It's like that. Pop the hood down. That is in. Now I know it's the right part because the buttons line up, if you can see. 1, 2, 3. So we flip that over, pop it in place, making sure all the buttons are there. All the buttons are there. So we'll put that into place, and get this back together. Okay, so that's back in place. That's absolutely fine. I am slightly concerned about that. That does look really bad, doesn't it? Let's straighten that out a little bit. It looks like it's been crushed, but it's not affecting the button. The button is still working. So we'll be very careful, very gentle with this and how we put it back in, hopefully. Very gentle. So the hood is still popped on this one, you can see. This is the worst connector to get in. There we go. It's in. It's in. I think you just caught the edge of that. That's in. So pop that down. And that's all good. Right, I'm going to get this board on here now. We rotate this button. Zoom out a little bit, give you a bit of a wider frame. Okay, so we're going to stick this button in properly. It's not in yet, the way it should be. There you go. Button's in, correct orientation, and then I'm going to just flip this down into the hole. Yes, Miss Moneypenny, into the hole. Dirty boy. Screw that down. Nice and gentle. Don't go too mad with the plastic. Right, before we install anything else, I have done this before and it killed me when I did it because I had to take the whole thing apart again. Remember, we need to put this back in. And it sits inward, and be very careful of this spring flying off. I do have spares, but you may not, so just make sure it slots in there. And then we want this connector here, this ribbon cable. It needs to be out of the way, tucked away in its little cubby hole. Do come on. Oh, you sod. Right, you stay there. Ah, there we go. It's in. That is nice and safely concealed and tucked in behind there. So we'll get these screws in before doing anything else. Yeah. Screw in. Reason I'm doing this before testing it is because, well, I'm an idiot. Should really test that it works, but I'm confident that that was the source of the problem. It certainly looked like it. I think that screw is threaded as well. The plastic's not responding well. So I believe that's everything back together enough. Let's put the power back in, reintroduce the power, and we'll see if it connects up and if it stays connected. Click. Done. Okay, so that's in there. Battery's a little loose, but it'll be okay. Now, be very careful how we put this back together because we don't want the same thing happening again. I think that's going to be okay. Oh, I believe. we have a winner. That is staying. Yay! There we go. I've fixed a fair amount of controllers, mainly because they're easy to do. But I even did a live stream. I thought it would take at least 45 minutes. This live stream repair I did. It took about 10 minutes, and it was a very dull live stream. I was thinking, well, that's fixed. Didn't really have a backup plan for that, so I didn't really do very well. Okay, that would seem to be wanting to try and find something. Does seem, is it me, or does that seem a bit like it's a bit of an oval? Doesn't seem like it closes properly. Let's see how we get on with the switch. Let's hook it up to the switch and have a look and see if it'll work. Well, it connects, that's a good thing. Okay. Does it work independently? Oh, there we go. It works independently. Let's test the controller buttons just so you can see. Oh yeah. There we go. That is now fully operational. So in the end, it was something a little bit like this. It was a cable break. Sometimes, obviously, it's plastic. It can perish, and this has been at the bottom of a crate in a bedroom under a bed. So it's not exactly the warmest conditions, really. The house is actually quite cold, as you'll know from previous videos. You know, quite a lot of corrosion can set in. That's why I tend to try to look after my electronics. But this is a clean break. I'll do a bit more testing of that. But yeah, for the most part, that is a fully repaired Switch Joy-Con. I really hope that you've enjoyed this video, and if you did, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you do like this type of content, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks very much for watching. Ta-ta for now.